Hello and welcome to our Premier League strikers ranked. I'm not going to lie, I've stole this idea. I've seen it on James Alcott's channel where he did something extremely similar with the very similar players. And then I've seen Spencer Owen do it with Premier League players, all-stars and strikers. So what myself and Gonzo are doing, we pick one striker from every Premier League club and we're going to rank them. We've got 5 categories. The top one is world class. The creme de la creme going there, the Premier League. Then underneath that, we've got the elite, the people who are not quite world class, but they're damn good. Underneath that, we've got the good. And then underneath that, we've got all right, they're a bit meh, they're all right. Then underneath that, we've got not for me, the ones that we don't really rank too much, the Zaza of the Premier League, if you like. Anyway, Gonzo, are you looking forward to this first of all?
Very much so. I'm winging it, very much so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I want to do more content like this, and because it's international break, Gonzo said, go on then, we can film this one because we've got nothing else to do. So I thought, brilliant. Let's get into it. So if you guys enjoy it, let us know because I want to do more of this, but we're only going to do more of this if you guys enjoy it. So let us know and also join in below. We'll list the 20 players in the pinned comments below, copy and paste it and put what category you put them in. It's all about opinions. Disclaimer, it's all about opinions, okay? There's no right or wrong, apart from Zaza. But let's get into this. Do you have a striker you want to start with, Gonzo?
No, mate, listen, you lead the dance here. You said there's no right or wrong. I'm pretty damn sure that there is, and I'm going to be falling on the side of right. But you lead the way. Do it alphabetically, do it crappiest first, whatever you want, mate.
Okay, well, Callum Wilson. Let's start with Callum Wilson. Bournemouth striker. Where are you putting him?
I am going to put Callum Wilson in the category of good. Now, I can't put him in elite because he's not elite. When he plays West Ham, he's elite. When he plays West Ham, he might even be world class. But when he plays everybody else, Callum Wilson is a good Premier League striker. And that's about as far as it goes.
I completely agree. Very consistent, but because he's consistent with injuries, it's probably going to stop him creeping up any other categories. A damn good Premier League striker, and he's got plenty of ability as well. It's good for me. That was a nice, comfortable player to start with. Let's move on. We'll go with Joelinton, Newcastle United striker.
Well, just a minute ago, Geo, with the Callum Wilson one, you started off nice and easy. In essence, you gave me a tap-in with that. Now we've got a striker who can score a tap-in. I think he's, 40-odd million? Something like that. Oh, there was a massive fanfare. He was going to come in. He was going to score loads of goals. I've seen him fall over a couple of times. I think I may have even seen him score a goal, but he flatters to deceive. He's big and strong and fast, but he doesn't seem to use any of those attributes to help him score a goal. Him and Almiron as a pairing, with Almiron just sitting behind, buzzing between, was meant to be too fast, too powerful, too cunning for the rest of the Premier League. I'm not saying he's not for me, although I wouldn't have him in my team. He's all right, but he's certainly closer to not for me than he is to being good.
Well, I'm going to go the one underneath you. I'm going not for me because I don't think he's a striker. I think he's more of a winger. He was played as more of a sort of a wide player before he went to Newcastle. When they played Spurs away, I thought, well, there we go. There's the £40 million player they bought. I've seen other games, even when they beat Man United, he was very average. Andy Carroll came on and contributed more than Joelinton did. And now there's a few players when we do this thing. There's a few players I think have the potential to move up a category. It just depends on form more than anything. He's one of them. But from what I've seen so far, he's not a shadow of Rondon. And I think it's harsh to compare the two, but that's what I'm naturally going to do when that's who's replaced. And he's just nowhere near Rondon for me. So he's in the bottom category, Joelinton. Let's go to the team underneath Newcastle, Norwich City, with Pukki. He did it in the Championship. He's been doing it in the Premier League. But where do you put him in your tier?
Well, it's the complete opposite of Callum Wilson, of course, because Callum Wilson was good and might be elite when he plays against West Ham. Well, I think Pukki's good, but when he plays against West Ham, he's a not for me because, quite frankly, he looked rubbish. But not only did he finish the season well and had a good season last season with Norwich, not only did he start the Premier League season well, he's carried on scoring goals for his country. So he looks dangerous, he looks good, and good's about right. Now, as you say, some players have the potential to move up in ranking as the season goes on. I think Pukki might have the potential to move down. So I'm pot pickers. I'm expecting to move down the charts at some point as Norwich continue to struggle.
I feel harsh now because this is the second one I'm going underneath you. I'm going for all right. I think he's all right. I think he's had a blistering start, but the question is, can he continue to do it all season? I'm not saying he won't, but I'm sitting on the fence. I'm not saying yes, he will. He did it in the Championship. In the Premier League, clubs need more pookies. They need more players that can do it in the Championship and can also do it in the Premier League. And I think the players of the Championship need more pookies as well, so the clubs actually might start to look down the division rather than abroad for their next purchase. So, sorry, Norwich fans, it won't be popular with you, but I'm putting him in the all right category. However, a bit like Yolenton, he has the potential to move up. Let's go over to Burnley now, shall we? Ashley Barnes.
Ashley Barnes is deceptively all right. And sometimes he can be good. But he's all right. And the reason he's all right and not good is because come the end of the season, he'll have scored 10 or 11 goals. I don't know what my cut-off is, Geo. I don't know how many Premier League goals you've got to score to be good. But I think it's more goals than Ashley Barnes will score. He'll have a few worldies. I think some of that might be down to the system, by the way. I don't think if you're a prolific striker, necessarily Sean Dyche is the manager you want to play for. But he's all right. But I actually think, you said Pookie, I think he's got the potential come the end of the season where he may well be finishing above Pookie in that sense.
I'm putting him above Pookie tonight. I put him in the good category. I think he's consistent, Ashley Barnes. I think that's important. I think he's very, very reliable for Burnley. He scores some big goals for them, important goals. But he does a lot more, apart from scoring, he does a lot more. Now I know we're judging them as strikers, therefore they're not solely, but mainly judged on how many goals are you going to get. But his work rate, he's just really important to the way Burnley play, Ashley Barnes. So for me, I've put him in the good category. He's someone I like, and I think is underappreciated by the neutral in the Premier League. Now let's go for a big club. Now let's go for a big club player. Take one of the top 6 clubs. Who would you like to go for? What club?
The top 6 who should be in the top 6 or the proper.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sky Sports top 6.
A Sky Sports top 6. Can we please have a Marcus Rashford, Gio?
Okay, well, I've put him in the good category. He should be higher. He should be elite. But he's not. He's just. I think he thinks he's elite. And I think that's probably part of the problem. He's trying to do too much. I've seen him taking free kicks from all over the pitch for Man United. He's just not good at them. He needs to stop that and concentrate on becoming an out-and-out striker or becoming a left winger, whichever he wants or whichever Ole wants. He needs to focus on that rather than. So Man United are a club in crisis and they're looking for a player to step up, and Rashford's trying to do that. So I respect him for it, but he's just not good enough to do it. I think he needs to just focus on development. He's got the potential to, would I say, world class a year ago, it would have, but now I'm not sure he has, but he should be higher up there. So, but for me, Rashford, good.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at players and particularly players of his age group, then you're going to look at Mbappe as the standout world-class player, and Rashford's a million miles away. Do I think he's good? Yes. I was tempted to put all right, but I think maybe that's just more down to United's form, the players he's got around him. And I also have to look at it and think, well, actually, the lad's won a UEFA Cup already, and he's played under Van Gaal, he's played under Jose Mourinho, and now he's playing under the soon-to-be departed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So he has some quality about him, but not enough to win games single-handedly on his own, which is probably what they need at the moment. So I'm going with good. And like yourself, I think he's got the potential to go higher than that. World class, not quite so sure.
From the red side to the blue side, and probably the easiest one out of all this list, out of these 20 players, you thought when you came across Sergio Aguero, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, he's very good. Well, I don't mean very good. He's not good, is he? Sorry, wherever Charlie's putting that thing up. Not good, Charlie. Cancel that. And let's make him world class, please, because he's one of 2 world class strikers in the Premier League, which will give you a little hint as to what's coming later on. He's brilliant. He will go down as an all-time great when people are assessing, because people love to talk about the Premier League like no other football ever happened before the Premier League. So Ian Wright, for instance, and Ian Rush and people like that are not Premier League greats, but they're English football greats, if you like. But when you're discussing who he is, and when you're discussing people like Alan Shearer and Robbie Fowler and people like that, Thierry Henry, for instance, Aguero's going to be in there. Aguero is a fantastic player. He's a world-class player, and he gets into any team in the world, and he's had a fantastic career.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of the best I've ever seen play football, Sergio Aguero, world class, easiest person for me. I've also got two world class strikers in this thing. So it's interesting for people watching this. Me and Gonzo don't know each other's list. I mean, I've got a list. I've written players down. Gonzo's just saying it off the top of his head. So
No, I
he's
have
got
it in my mind. In my
uh,
mind, I've made it up in my mind.
memorized,
Yeah.
memorized it. World class memory. See, I'm in the good for memories. I've had to write it all down. But yeah, Sergio Aguero, world class, easiest one to do. So it'd be interesting to see if we're agreeing on the second world class player or not. There's only three other candidates, I think, but we'll get on to them in a minute.
We've not discussed Calvin Lewin yet, of course.
Well, do you want to discuss Calvin Lewin? Let's discuss Calvin Lewin.
Not for me. Not for me. Not for me, really, Gio. I've got to say, I would like to say all right, but I'd like to see some goals first. Can't believe that a club that spent as much money as Everton. Well, actually, I blame you. I can't believe he's on the list. Not that it's your fault. You haven't compiled the squad. You've not put the Everton squad together. But if that's as good as they've got as their striker, having spent £500 million in the last 4 seasons or whatever it might be, no, it's not good enough. He might do something in the future, but as it stands right now, not for me.
They've got Moise Kean, remember? They do have him, but Silva's been playing Calvin Lewin. That's why I've used Calvin Lewin here, because he's got more appearances than him. It's not for me as well. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's a bottom half Premier League club player. If you come up, I expect him to be a player that if you get promoted to the Premier League and you need an established Premier League forward, he's the type of player you want to go get. He's the type of player you think he'll get enough to keep us up. But he's not good enough for Everton. Every time I watch Everton, and when you've got players like Bernard, Sigurdsson, and Richarlison behind you, you should be bagging a goal every other game, and he's not. He misses quite a few opportunities as well. The thing is, though, I actually want him to do well. Whenever I watch him, he's working hard, gives 100%, really committed. He'll do anything for his team. So I actually want to see him succeed, because I'd always rather have a player like that in my team than someone who's maybe got the world at his feet, but he just can't be arsed a little bit. But he's just not good enough for Everton. The sooner they realise that, the better, I think. Southampton, my old favourite, Danny Ings.
He's all right, Gio. He's all right. I think, what's he scored? 3 goals this season, something like that. I do believe. I think he might have scored 3 Premier League goals this season. So his career's been blighted by injury, of course. I mean, at Burnley, I think he might have played alongside Charlie Austin at Burnley, if memory serves me correctly. And he really looked like he was going to do something. And obviously, the move to Liverpool didn't quite work out for him as it should have done. By the time he'd recovered from his injury, Klopp had built such a fine team there. He was never going to get in. So, but he's gone to Southampton now. He's all right. He's all right. I think he might even score 10 or 11 Premier League goals this season, which I think is pretty much all right. It might even one day be good.
I put all right as well, believe it or not. I know people watching this will think, what? I was expecting you to put him elite.
World class.
He's one of those players. He's one of them players. He's a bit like a Kieran Dyer that come the end of his career, he'll look back and think, if it wasn't for injuries, where could I have went? Because he got his dream move to Liverpool. He got that and he earned that. But just injuries just stopped him achieving anything. And I think he's got every attribute a striker needs. I think he's a finisher. He's got strength. He's got pace. He's hard working. He's got everything. And it's just that he's just been really restricted. It's always one step forward, 2 steps back for Danny Ings, unfortunately. And that's why he's in the all right category, not the good category for me. From Southampton to Wolverhampton, the Wolves striker we're not going with Jota, we're going to go with Raul Jimenez, one of the most impressive players last season. But where have you put him in your tier?
Well, this will bring a tear to his eye, quite frankly, because he's only all right. And last season he was very good. Possibly he might have even gone higher last season, but for whatever reason, it may have taken it out of him, the European adventure. but I'm not seeing the same player this season. But what we discussed with Rashford earlier, that might be reflective of the team around him. And I don't mean that Wolves have turned into a bad team. I fully expect them to turn it around this season and play very, very well. But everybody struggles when they get into Europe. If you're a mid-table team, which Wolves are, and you suddenly find yourself getting into Europe, and they're all right. Nothing special at the moment, mate. But we know he's got a little bit more in his locker.
I've gone for good. I think that's as good as it's going to get for me. He looked on fire last season, but I think he has Jota to thank a lot for that. I think it was the perfect partnership rather than the perfect striker, and I think that can skew a lot of people's opinions. I think his partner Jota did a lot of the work that didn't get as much credit as Jimenez did, although he's putting the ball away consistently throughout the season. And maybe it's second season syndrome for him in the Premier League, or it might be the Europa League. I don't know. But the thing is, as a Wolves fan, you have complete faith he's going to continue to score. He could probably go on a 4 games without a goal, but you'd still play him in the 5th and the 6th because you know eventually he will start scoring again. I think he's a damn good player, Raul Jimenez, and I was tempted. He's never going to get elite for me, but at the same time, he's not going to go lower. I think this guy is the most nailed-on good tier striker for me out of this whole list. It is the one I thought good, and there's no question about it. A couple I struggled on, but we'll talk about that at the end, the ones that we really struggled on. But he was the one that I put in. Now I want to we'll go to Anfield. Bobby Firmino. Where have we put this one?
Geo, for me, he's good. Shock horror.
Just good.
Yes, just good.
Wow.
Just good. Because he's just good. That's all he is. He doesn't score enough. He doesn't score enough goals. If you would have put in many respects as Liverpool play, I think it's Mane and Salah who are the strikers. Now I know they play wide. Firmino just drops deep. He constantly drops deep. He's very clever. If you'd have done somebody as a playmaker or a sort of whatever you want to call it, a false number 9 or a number 10 or a number 9.5, then Firmino would have got it, and he would have got elite at that point, because I think he is elite. I think his link-up play, his back flicks, I think all of that are very, very good. But as an out-and-out goal scorer, and if I was a clever man, I would have done my research beforehand. But I think his career goals to games ratio is not enough to put him in elite. For elite, I want you to score a goal every other game, pretty much, or be scoring regularly 20, 25 goals a season pretty much throughout your career. And he's not that for me. He's a good footballer. He's clearly works well in Klopp's system. But if we're just assessing people as centre forwards or strikers, which I think we are, he's good.
Yeah, he's just strikers, but for me, he's elite at minimum. I said about how Jimenez was easy, Aguero was easy. This was the one I struggled with. There's one other player I struggled with, actually. But Firmino was one of the ones that I left till the end, and I thought, is he world class or is he elite? And I was tempted to put him in world class. The boy, Salah and Mane don't work without him. If you take him out of the team, they don't work. Those two, the whole thing comes collapsing down. He's so important to Liverpool. It's unbelievable. There was the other league game a few weeks ago. He started him on the bench because they had the Champions League. They were struggling. They brought him on and bang, he was flicks, tricks, everything. He's bringing players in. Bam, bam, bam. Liverpool ran out 3-0. Got man in the match, but he only played half the game. I don't think he even scored. But
no. Well, that's my point. He doesn't. He often doesn't score. But he was brilliant.
Still a striker. But he's still a striker, though. And we're judging him as a striker.
Well, I just think he don't score enough goals. He needs to put his finger out, quite frankly. If he wants to move up my list and get the whatever is it, Charlie, whatever it is. If he wants that stuff switching around or whatever, he's gonna have to score some more goals. And he might even get in my fantasy league team if he does.
No, he doesn't need to score more goals for me. If he does score more goals, then I put him in world class, if anything. But he's elite for me. He's an absolute minimum. One of the best players in the Premier League. Yeah, that was difficult. World class or elite for me. Firmino, good for Gonzo. Elite for me. You're appreciated over here, don't you worry. Wesley.
Yes.
Aston Villa striker.
I can't rate him as good. He's not done anything yet. He's not. There have been glimmers, flickers of some promise that might yet arrive. At the moment, I look and I think, yeah, all right. I've not seen enough of him to say good. I've not seen enough of him to say not for me. He's clearly not as good as Firmino. He's all right. That's it, Gio. Really, not a lot to say. I need to see a bit more from him. Really, he's not torn it up. He's not like he's like Pookie. He's come into the Premier League and gone bang, 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 bang. You did loads of bangs earlier, actually, didn't you? I don't know. We're usually better at articulating ourselves and just saying bang, bang, bang. But there's not a lot of bang. Yeah, that's it, really.
I've gone for all right as well, but he's someone that it's his first season in England, never mind Premier League. Pookie's got the advantage, hasn't he? Pookie is coming up from the Championship, so it's not too different for him. But Wesley's coming over from Belgium, where there's not loads of players that make it from Belgium that come over, but he's come over from there. He's got his head screwed on. He refused big money to go to China in order to come here and prove himself on a bigger stage. I like that about him. He's looked good in some games I've seen. I haven't seen a lot of Villa. They played us. He looked distinctly average. Had the worst dive of the season I've seen. But I've seen him against Everton where he caused Mina and Keane all sorts of problems from the first minute to the last. More of that, he goes into good. But I've not seen more of that yet, so he stays in all right for me. Now we're going to head over to Vicarage Road. Troy Deeney, bad boy. Where's he going? Where's he going in your tier list?
Good. He's a good player, and again, doesn't quite score enough goals to be elite. Well, he's not good enough to be elite, but he's got an awful lot going for him. He's a leader. You spoke earlier about Firmino making Liverpool tick. They don't work without him. Often Watford don't work without Deeney for different reasons. He's not got the flicks and the flamboyance that Firmino's got, but he's got grit and he's got drive, he's got determination, he's got leadership qualities. He's an absolute pain in the bum when your team play him. Got an awful lot going for him. He's got character, real character, and in an age where there's a real paucity of leadership, he's got tons of it. I like him. He's a good player.
Yeah, I've gone for good as well. He can have a quiet game for an hour, but you just know the right cross or whatever, and he will get up there. And if he's having a bad game, it's not through lack of effort, because he will give 100% every single game. He will drag his team through it. If this was captains, I think I'd put him in the elite. I think I really rate him as a captain, but it's not. It's about strikers, so he stays in good for me. That's as high as he's ever going to go. Though, like I said, some players have got potential to move up. Troy Deeney doesn't. He's a bit like an Ashley Barnes and a Raul Jimenez. Nailed on. Good category for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now we're going to go to Leicester City. Jamie Vardy.
Well, Jamie Vardy is elite at finishing things off. His misses is world class at starting stuff.
I like that. I like that.
Okay. It wasn't written down. It was in there. You know, he is elite. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I gave you my criteria earlier when I said about the goal scoring. He's a fantastic player, and I think it's a miracle considering he's come from non-league. He's won league championships, and even when things aren't going particularly well for Leicester, he's carried on scoring. He's well into his 30s now. He's still as quick as he ever was. He's an absolute threat. He's scoring goals. He'll continue to score goals. He'll get up into the 20s again this season. An elite level Premier League striker who, had he have played his whole career at the Premier League, would find himself finishing it with a goals tally like some of the best, would find himself, I would imagine, troubling the top 10, 15 all-time Premier League goal scorers. He'd certainly be getting a finished career 100 to 200 Premier League goals, certainly.
Yeah, he's elite for me as well. This was an easy one for me. He's far better than Deeney, Barnes and stuff. He's much better than them, but he's nowhere near Aguero, so he's comfortably in the middle for me. I think he's going to be, in 10 years' time, I think he'll be an underappreciated Premier League striker, a bit like what maybe Craig Bellamy is today. We don't really speak about Craig Bellamy, but actually he was a damn good striker. And I think Jamie Vardy is going to be a bit like that once he's retired and gone. Every season, the last 2 seasons, you've thought, is this a season age is going to catch up with him? But it's not. He's, like you said, he's still got the pace. He scored that goal against Bournemouth a few weeks ago, that audacious lob that you just think, wow, like there's not that many players in Premier League have the ability, the creativity, or just the bollocks to even try it. The fact he even tried it is something. He's able to. He's almost got the thing of Troy Deeney. He's got the aura of Deeney, is somebody like the opposition fans love to hate, but actually, just like Troy, it just bounces off him. It just motivates him to keep going. You can understand why he's a fan favourite at Leicester, and if I was an Arsenal fan a few years ago when they were linked with him, I'd be kicking myself they didn't get him. Regardless of who they've got now, back then they really needed a Jamie Vardy, and you can see why. Yeah, elite striker for me. Chelsea, Tammy Abraham. We could have picked him or we could have picked Giroud, but Abraham started the last couple of games and sort of started to cement himself as Chelsea #1 striker after there was a question of who's it going to be between him, Giroud, and Batshuayi had an outside chance as well. But Tammy Abraham's that #1 striker.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned about Arsenal fans kicking themselves. I think there was a time when I first saw Tammy Abrahams. I think if he tried to kick himself, he probably would have missed. But I didn't think he would make it. I think he's now looking like a Premier League striker. You can't even doubt it, actually. Look at the Premier League scoring charts. He's not been doing it long enough to go in the elite category. So, Charlie, when you do this graphic, he's got to go as good. He's good. I like him. And he looks like he's got a good career ahead of him. And I think he's got the right manager who's looking to bring forward youth. There was a suggestion when he went to Aston Villa that it might happen and it might work for him, because I think he might have gone to Swansea before, possibly. Yeah. Not a great loan. I think maybe Llorente was possibly there at the same time as well. And whoever, I think they possibly fancied him or whatever. Maybe I've remembered it wrong, but I don't think it worked out for him at Swansea. Looked like he was coming some way towards becoming a bit of a player, but you don't know whether they're just going to be a championship style player. Look at someone like Sam Baldock, for instance, who, score goals at all the lower levels, but not the top one. But I tell you what, he's stepped up, and now I think he's not quite established and elite, but you have to say Tammy Abrahams now is a good Premier League striker.
Yeah, I'm going to contradict myself with the Pukki thing and put Tammy Abraham in good. I just think he's better than Piku. I think he's a better player. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. But whenever I watch Chelsea, he just impresses me. His movement, his hold-up play. I just think he's a damn good striker, him, actually. And there'll be a few clubs like West Ham will think that was a summer. This summer that's passed was if you were ever going to get him, it was this summer you were going to pinch him. Maybe you wouldn't have got him because of the transfer ban. If Chelsea had a transfer ban, they might have actually sold him. But West Ham, Bournemouth, Leicester, anyone that was maybe wanting a striker, they've missed a trick with Tammy Abraham, I think, because his value's gone up, and I don't think he's going to leave Chelsea now. But it's a good striker. But I expect in 2 years' time, if we revisit this, we will be putting Tammy Abraham in elite at least. That's what he's got to be getting better, and he's got to do it on the bigger stage now. To Brighton, Neil Maupay, big money signing, and quite a lot of these strikers are big money signings in the summer that's just gone, but he's another one. Started all right though at Brighton.
Yeah, I mean he played the first game. They were signing for Brentford, didn't they?
Yeah,
I believe. Scored lots of goals at Brentford last season. I remember the manager there came in and wanted to implement a new style at Brighton. I think in the first game of the season, I think he came off the bench and ended up scoring 3 goals, having been behind in the game. Looks really good. I've not seen enough of him to make a proper judgment. I know, as I say, I know his record down the Championship. So I'm gambling here. He's definitely not good. So is he all right or is he not for me? Well, I don't want to spend any money on him. So I'm going to actually go, but not for me.
I'm going to go for all right. I think I expect him to become good, though. I've been impressed with what I've seen, but unlike Abraham, I've not seen him enough. Abraham, he had an okay spell at Swansea when they got relegated. I'm sure he was a striker when they got relegated, Abraham in Premier League, but he looked okay. He had bits and pieces about him. You could see something there. Neil Maupay and Pukki haven't had that chance yet, but they've both made a decent start, and I think Maupay will be a fan's favourite at Brighton. He works hard. He's got a bit of technique about him. He's strong. He's got a decent bit of pace as well. Good. I'm tempted to put him in good. I'm going to stick with all right because he's not done it long enough yet, but he's another one that'll move up a little bit. Sheffield United striker Mick Goldrick. Mick who? We're here.
You know what? I asked to Google. I didn't even know what I was talking about.
Well, the thing is, I was gonna put Mick Burney because he's the big money striker. Yeah. But I know, fine, you would just sit there and make jokes about him being Scottish and his name.
Big beard as well. Big sort of
Celtic. So I've gone with Irish.
Doogie McBurney.
Yeah. So I've gone with
we can still do that if you want.
No, I've gone with the Irish one, Mick Goldrick, because he seems to be their main striker. They've got lots of options at Sheffield United. You know, they've got Callum Robinson, Billy Sharp. McGoldrick and McBurney, but McGoldrick seems to be the one that's consistently getting played. Robinson as well, but he seems to be a winger more than a striker from what I've seen. So I've gone with McGoldrick.
McGoldrick, which is strangely still a Scottish sounding name in many respects, but so you went for one Celt and picked another Celt with the Irishman McGoldrick there. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't think he's scored any goals, Gio. Has he scored a single goal in the Premier League yet? Because their centre back seems to score all the goals.
I think he's got one.
One.
I think he scored against Bournemouth, but I could be wrong.
Oh. Not for me, mate. I'm afraid, not for me. But as you say, did they've got Sharp? They got Billy Sharp playing from us. Yeah, I mean they've got a lot of strikers who can't score many goals, but it doesn't matter because they got this game plan, this sort of thuggish, nasty game plan where they can grind results out and they can still get goals as well. But the goal threat seems to come from other areas of the team. I maybe he's good at fouling. I don't think he's very good at scoring goals.
He's a hard worker. He's a bit like he's a dream striker for someone like Sean Dyche or Tony Pulis. They would love to have him in this team, and Sheffield United are becoming that team this season. It's a not for me as well, just because I think he's a Jordan Rhodes. Do you know, you said like a Sam Baldock? I call it the Jordan Rhodes thing, where you'll score lows and you look really good in lower leagues, but no one will take a chance on you. No one wants you in the Premier League because they're just not convinced or whatever. And it's a bit like that for me. I think he's a good top Championship player, but I'm not convinced he's a Premier League player.
He's the next Billy Sharp.
Possibly, quite. So it's a not for me as well. We've only got 1, 2, 4 players left. We'll go with the non-West Ham and the non-world class potentials, which is Jordan Ayew.
Crikey, he's not even the best footballer called Ayew. He's the third best footballer in his family, for goodness sake. It ain't good for Jordan Ayew. It's a definite no for me. He's a journeyman footballer. I'll tell you what, he's the Derek Chisora of football. He's a journeyman, one club to the next, not doing very much. He'll score a goal and then he'll get knocked out. Actually, that's too much like Chisora. Not for me, not very good.
Not for me either. I've never rated him, even when he's moved about the clubs in the Premier League. He always seems to get another club, and wherever he's been, I just think, no. He looked half decent at Swansea, but even then I wasn't convinced that I'd want him at West Ham. Not for me. Before we go on to the 2 potential world-class players, let's go to our West Ham one, Sebastian Aller. Was this one difficult? Because you've almost got to remove your West Ham specs a little bit, but at the same time, this is a striker you see more than anyone else in the Premier League. So arguably, it's the one that I think you can be forgiven for putting in the wrong category.
Okay, well, it's hard because it's either good or elite.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think you've got to take some of the Frankfurt thing into account, and he was outstanding on the European stage and in the Bundesliga. He's now up and running and playing well in the Premier League and scoring goals as well. His hold-up plays something else entirely. It's a fantastic player. I think I'm going to have to go with good at the moment, but crikey, he is close, Gio. He is close. If he plays the next 3 months like he's just played since he started, and it'll be the base that he had, 2 really good years at European level, domestic and European level. I think he's. I also think he's somebody that the bigger clubs may well be interested in at some point. He's not quite. You can't say he's up there with Jamie Vardy yet because he's not done what he's done. But actually, on the European stage, of course, he's done more than him. Good, almost elite.
Yeah, it's exactly the same for me. I struggled between the two. I was thinking, am I being biased? Am I not being biased? But then I thought, Firmino's been doing it consistently in the Premier League. Jamie Vardy's been doing it consistently in the Premier League. So you can't really hold that against Aliyev because he's only just arrived. But at the same time, we've just gone and put Wesley in all right. We've gone and put Pukki. Well, I've gone and put Pukki in all right as well because they've not done it in the Premier League yet. So I can't then start whacking this guy in elite because he's not done it in and just ignoring the reasons. So it's good for me, but I expect him to be an elite because I do think he's better than West Ham. I still do believe that. And he's had a really good start. So that leaves 2 players. That leaves Harry Kane and Aubameyang. Now, one of us, well, we're both putting one in world class, and I assume the other one's going in elite for you.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
I don't know which way to start with here.
Have you got an inkling what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking? Are you?
I think you're going to put the same player as me in world class.
Okay. Well, I'll let you decide which one you want to go for first, because obviously once you get the first answer, you're going to know the second.
Well, I'll tell you what. Who's what player are you putting in world class?
I'm putting in Aubameyang.
Yeah, me too. Aubameyang for me as well.
Yeah, fantastic player, wonderful player. I don't know if anybody's seen the stats, his goals per minute ratio in the Premier League, but it is up there with anybody's. He's absolutely fantastic. He's amazing. You've got to quantify it by looking at the team he's playing in, which was Arsenal are a decent team, a fair team. They're not world class. How many goals that fellow would score for Liverpool or Manchester City or somebody like that? I really don't know. He is absolutely world class, and he's just going to continue to score goals. I reckon a lot of teams will be kicking themselves that they didn't buy him earlier, having spoken about that earlier. Brilliant, brilliant player, natural goal scorer, quick, skillful, and can drift wide to either flank as well. A complete modern day forward in many respects.
He's just unbelievable. His talent is outrageous. Some of the goals he scores are like scruffy, but that's what makes him world class. The fact that he takes one touch to shoot, he just shoots. Majority of strikers would take a touch to control or whatever. He just hits it, and I think it was Watford away or something. His first goal of the game, he just done it, and you just thought, wow, how's he thought that quick? How's he taking the shot on so early? Because he's world class. You have to remember, while these goals are phenomenal at Arsenal already, he's often been put out on the left in order to accommodate Lacazette up front. And
Yeah.
Emery had that issue for a while. He had the Gerrard Lampard Scholes thing with Aubameyang and Lacazette. How do I play them both? But actually, Lacazette being injured has seen Aubameyang go up there on his own, and he's producing the goods more than ever. And I just think this guy is just wow. Like the talent he has is unbelievable. Some of the finishes I've seen him score for Arsenal, just ridiculous. He really is that good, which leaves us with Harry Kane, and that's not going to be a popular choice, I don't think. I think a lot of people are going to say we've got this wrong, and he should be in world class. And he's someone I dithered with quite a little bit between the two, between elite and world class. I really struggled with Harry Kane. What's your reasons for not putting him in the world class, etc.?
Well, I think the biggest compliment you can give to Harry Kane is we're having to justify why he's not world class, and that shows how close he is to being in there. He's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic striker, and I just don't think he is quite world class for me. And I guess you could look at the World Cup and say, well, hold on, he won the Golden Boot at the World Cup. But go and look at the goals as well, and you know, I don't think they're quite up to that top level. I don't think he is as good as Aubameyang. I think that's the thing. I don't think he's as good as Mbappe and people like that. I don't think he's as good as Aguero. I think he may well go down at the end of his career as being a top level Premier League striker. But the guy that owns the record for top Premier League goals is Alan Shearer. I don't think Alan Shearer was world class. I think Alan Shearer was a fantastic Premier League striker, a top level striker, an elite striker. That's what I think Harry Kane is. If Harry Kane had a little bit of pace, then, well, he has got a little bit of pace. If he had a decent amount of pace, I think he'd be unstoppable. I really admire him. I think he's great. I said after the World Cup, I was actually going to stop slagging him off. And please don't think this is a slagging off of Harry Kane. I really admire him. I think he's really good. I think he's a good captain for England. And he's wonderful. He's got a lot going for him. He did a damn good job hosting Strictly Come Dancing as well. A fantastic player.
He's a role model. You know, he's the perfect role model for England and stuff. I find it hard not to put him in world class, but I just don't think his finishing is as good as Aubameyang. His all-round play isn't as good as Aguero's. I think there's aspects of his game as world class. I think there's bits he's good at that you think unbelievable. His finishing speaks for itself. 130 goals in the Premier League. He's going to become the all-time Premier League goal scorer, providing he stays in Premier League and doesn't go to Real Madrid or that. I almost think that he needs a move. I think he needs a move away from Spurs. I think he's almost outgrowing Spurs a little bit. Now, this isn't me slacking off Spurs or anything like that, but I just think he needs to be winning trophies now. He needs to be winning silverware, and he might have to go somewhere else in order to do that. But while he's got the world class finishing, I hate just people saying other people are world class without. For me, it's almost like if you pick a European squad, 3 players for every position, these guys have to be in contention. And he doesn't make in the top 3 strikers in Premier League for me. So therefore, he can't be in contention for that squad. It's Aubameyang and Aguero. I just think them two are a little bit ahead of Harry Kane. But saying that, when it comes to the elite category, I do think Harry Kane's a little bit ahead of Jamie Vardy, although they're in the same category. It's just difficult. This won't be popular. But Harry Kane's got time on his side. He's not peaked yet. He's not in his best, I don't think. We've not seen the best of Harry Kane yet. We've seen the best of Aubameyang, or we are seeing the best of Aubameyang. We've seen the best of Sergio Aguero, but we're not seeing the best of Harry Kane yet. I do think he will become world class. I do think he'll smash the Premier League record. I do think he will win things. But just right now, I'm going to put him in the elite category. But anyway, that's all our 20 players ranked, tiered. A couple of ones that people will agree with. Who's the hardest player for you? Picking a category, picking a tier.
Let me have a look at the list again. Well, aside from Haller, for obvious reasons you described, it was actually Firmino. It was Firmino because I'm not.
That's because you put him too low. You put him in the same category as Callum Wilson and Pookie. You put Firmino in the same category as Pookie.
Oh, you know, got to do what you got to do. What you got to do. Look, yeah, it was difficult because, as I say, I'm not impervious to his qualities as a footballer. I just look at it as a striker, and I don't know. I've not looked at the Premier League goal scoring charts. Maybe I should have done. Again, I'm not a great one for research. Let's see. 8 goals, Aguero, 8 Abraham, Aubameyang 7, Pookie 6, Sterling 6, Mane 5, Harry Kane 5, Jamie Vardy 5, Wilson 5, Salah 4, Silva 4, Haller 4, Wesley 4. Oh, maybe I got a bit wrong with him. Ashley Barnes 4, Mason Mount 4, Firmino 3. He's good. He's not up there with the elite and the top boys. You've got to go to the bottom of the list to find Firmino. If it was if I had to rank everybody for back heels, he would be world class, okay? But for popping the ball in the back of the net, he's good.
As a striker, elite for me. I find him difficult because I almost wanted to put him in world class because he is a striker and there's not much better people. Do you know how I said Kane's not as good as, say, Aguero for all round or Aubameyang for finishing, or he's not as good as Firmino for interacting with his teammates and stuff? Firmino's got that. Firmino's better at the hold-up play and the dropping deep than any other striker on the list, in my opinion. Now, I know that's not what we're judging him on, but that's part of a striker's game, in my opinion. So I think you're being harsh on Firmino.
Well,
I think
hold on a second. Let's have this right. If we were doing this for centre-backs, and I've got a funny feeling you probably got you're probably going to want to do some more of these.
Yeah, one people like it.
Well, drifting wide and heading and lots of different things, running are all part of being a centre back, of course. But you're not going to turn around and go, oh yeah, he's really good at doing all those things, good at covering the fullback. But his tackling's way down. You can't be in a conversation for world class centre back if you can't tackle or intercept. It's as simple as that.
Well, you can't. You don't tackle. Tackling centre backs don't make that much tackles in Premier League this day.
Or whatever.
One a game.
Whatever. You get. All right. Well, you get the point. At some point you're going to have to stop the ball. All right. So I take it. Strikers. I want them to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yes. Well, I think Firmino does that as well. Actually. Anyway, let us know at home. We've got the 20 players. They're in the pinned comments below. We've listed all 20. Just copy and paste it, and you can either put them in order, so Aubameyang and Aguero is such like, or you can just put world class stuff next to them. But let us know what you think. Who do you agree with and disagree with the most for mine and Gonzo's list? They're not too indifferent, to be honest. There's a few similar, but Firmino's the one I massively disagree with from him, unfortunately. But anyway, Gonzo, have you enjoyed that?
Very, very much so. I look forward to the comments.
Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Let us know if you'd like to see more of these videos and what category you'd like us to do next. And thanks to James and Spencer for letting us pinch their idea. Subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, we'll see you in a bit.